Years after the war, Grandpa and Grandma lived in southern Missouri. And one day Grandpa was working near the barn, and his saddle horse was in the barn lot. A rider came down the road on a horse that had been ridden so hard and so far that it was staggering and about to go down. The rider came into the barn lot and came to where Grandpa was working. And he was young, nice-looking, and spoke in a refined, well-modulated voice. And he said, "Is that your horse, mister?" Grandpa said, "Yes, that's my horse." The young man said, "My horse can't go any farther, so I'll trade with you." And Grandpa's temper had a pretty short fuse, so he said, "Well, I guess you won't." And the young man said in the same gentle voice, "Well, I guess I will." Grandpa said a few more choice words, and then his visitor hooked his thumbs in his vest, pulled the sides back to show two big guns and shoulder holsters, and he said, "Well, you see, mister, I'm Jesse James, and I'm in a bit of a hurry to get on down the road, but my horse can't go any farther, so I'll trade with you." And Grandpa now had quite a change of heart, so he said, "Yes, I guess you will." Jesse James threw his saddle on Grandpa's horse and took off down the road, and Grandpa never saw it again. The James horse turned out to be a young Morgan stallion, so Grandpa bought 3 young Morgan mares, and for many years he raised some of the finest Morgan horses in southern Missouri, so he got the best of the horse trade after all. But he didn't say anything about the horse trade or who he was. He just chatted a little while like any neighbor. And he said, "There's weevil in the roots of your trees. If you don't pull all the withered ones and burn them, they'll infest your whole orchard." Then he left. Never saw him again. Not long before he died, Uncle Ed said, "Papa, do you remember the time you traded horses with Jesse James?" He says, "No, I didn't. I've met him and I've talked with him, but I never had no dealings with him."
He just wasn't going to admit that.
No, he wasn't.
I wonder why not. Did he?
He was a little bit ashamed of having been vested in a horse trade, I guess. But Uncle Ed says, "Now, Papa, don't you remember?" And he started telling him about it. And he said, "Oh, yes, that's true." And so then he told the story again.